All right. Hello, everybody. I'm only going to be on for a couple minutes, but I wanted to just kind of share a couple things with you so you know what to expect. I know we've said it a few times as well. Um, so the USBs, let me just explain very quickly the USBs. The USBs that you will be receiving, if you are, and here's how you get it. If you live near a store, we're going to make it come down and get it. If you live out of state or out of city, it will be mailed. What I did personally is yesterday and today, I emailed everyone individually, one at a time, to you, asking you to verify your address. And so far, I've gotten most of the people to respond. I'm about 70%. So check your email from me if you're out of city, out of state. Because when you reply, I went and typed your address in there, and I wanted to make sure that we have it correct, because I did find a couple errors along the way. And so then that's when we're gonna, the USB will also be mailed Monday and Tuesday. I'm sending about 20 of them out on Monday, and Annette at the office is handling the other 20 or so, give or take. Okay, so there's enough on that. When you get the USB, it'll if you have an organ with a USB, it'll more than likely work, but I'm going to tell you what's on the USB so you know what to expect. All right? So if you open up your USB on your computer, and Daun, do you see that where it says virtual holiday music camp?
Yes.
Okay, I
Yep.
want to make sure you're looking. So when you open it up on your computer, do you see the 16 songs here?
Yep.
Okay,
There.
you put the USB in your computer, you'll notice that you'll see 16 songs recorded, all of which are the songs that were featured in the classes and then some. So Daun did a couple, did an extra, Carrie did a couple extra, I did an extra, each of us did at least an extra one song or two, all right? And then there's this file here. If you want to access the materials, you can open this up and you'll see all these things in here. Let me get rid of that real quick. I'll show you that in a second. All right. So this says Carrie, Daun, Jerome, they're all labeled, and then there's a couple extra files. This USB has the list of the songs. Now, let me open up and tell you what's all on that. I'm just giving you information just so you know what to expect when you get it. So when you get this, there's all the songs, there's all the files. You'll have this attachment in there. You can also access the class from this attachment. So if you have this in your computer, you click one of these, it'll automatically open up that recorded class that you attended. Jonies, there's 2 links in here. They're the same one, just one looks funny and one doesn't. Okay? I've been emailing you the stuff as well. All right, but the materials has been updated. So the last thing I sent out on Wednesday and on this USB, it's going to have all the materials, but like if I scroll through, I'm going to go through real quickly, like Christmas in Dixie here, you'll notice that those notations I made that Daun had me do, the yellows and the A1s and the greens and all that stuff she mentioned, that's all in there. Her handouts in there, and I also included, there was that little additional thing there. I also included her intro. Ooh, look at that fancy thing. If you print that out and sell it online, you can make $100 a piece on that.
Yeah.
It's worth 200 if you can get Daun to autograph it. Anyway, it has all the materials all the way through, all et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. All right. So that's all coming to you on the stick. Now, if you use the stick, depending on the model you have, Prestige on up, if you play the USB, it'll play the songs. If you have an EY series with a USB, it'll play the songs EY and EX. You have two ways to play them. One way is you can play it the Lowry format, and one is the MP. If you have a car with a USB or computer, you put it in there, you can access those MP files and play the holiday tunes. Okay? And then one last thing, I don't know who's on today. I know there's camp people, but if there's some folks that are visiting that didn't attend and they're just curious, on the website, for those who did register, if they want to, this flyer here is on there. You can still purchase the whole thing. You'll notice that the flyer, oops, you ever pushed the wrong button on your computer? Let's see, sorry. Let me go back to here. Where is it? Okay, so if you go on here, if there's anybody that didn't get a chance to buy it, if they could still buy the package, you'll get emailed all the information, you'll get the USB. This will be up on our website until tomorrow. First thing Monday during the day at some time, this is gonna be replaced with another special offer, and I'll give you a hint, it has to do with Marco Mendez.
Ooh.
And it's what I will tell you, it's $100 worth of stuff for $25 that he's offering. But you got until Sunday night to get that if you want to. Last but not least, if I can fit it in the schedule, next week, you USB touchscreen people, I'm gonna do a special class. I'm gonna pick up where I left off about a month or two ago. I was talking about USB and presets and all that, because there's a neat little trick that I'm gonna show you with this USB. And I alluded to it on the class, but there were some questions after. So I'm gonna have us just keep an eye out in the email for that. So that's all I have. That's enough of me. That's enough of my beautiful face on a Saturday. So now I'm gonna give you turn it over to Dazzling Dawn. Let's hear that special laugh, Dawn.
Oh, yes, here we are. Yeah, no, I still give props to Jerome. He's got the best laugh. Now, those of you who were in class yesterday, my computer was slow yesterday. It's slow in the office, and today again, it's slow. I feel like I'm moving in slow motion. So if I'm a little bit disjointed, it's not your computer, it's mine. So no worries, as long as you can hear me, as long as I can hear you. This is very casual. I don't really have anything pre-planned as far as what to teach. This is going to be answering your questions. So the best way to ask those questions is to just scream it out, and I'll take the first person who asks questions, and we'll get through everybody. We close at 6, so we've got the next 5 hours to do this if we want to. And if it's a question that I can't answer, for example, if it was something special that Joe did that I don't know how to do, I will definitely write it down. I actually have a blank piece of paper so I can write down anything that I need to, and I'll find out from the artist and make sure that I get you emailed the answer to your questions. So anything that I can help with today, plus, yeah, I see that too. Anything that I can help with the next couple of days, whatever it is. I'm here to get the answers for you if I don't have them. So who would like to go first?
I would.
Okay.
The Stan in Tucson. Just to start us off, go through the process of loading the USB and playing it. Okay?
Loading, you mean the one that you're getting?
Yeah, one we're getting. You
Okay.
put it in your USB port.
Yep,
Take it
pretty
from
easy.
there and tell me how I'm going to play it.
Pretty easy. Do you want to listen to it or do you want to load presets? Remember, your USB stick. Now, this is one of my personal ones. This is not one of the other ones. I should have actually had one here. They're in the other room. But there's two things that a USB does. It will save and reload presets, and it will also save and play back recordings. So those are two completely separate processes. So if you are looking to load the songs, and what Robert did tell you is that because the songs are on the stick, you can also load song presets if they were done with presets on your organ. All right,
Ah.
so what, okay? So there's no presets per se, like I don't have my Dance of the Sugar Plum Fairy presets on here. You have to put those into your organ yourself. But the song is on your stick. So what you do is you put your stick in your USB, you go to your music recorder, you touch the fast forward arrows, and that will bring up all the songs on
Okay.
your stick. And then you
Okay.
scroll to the one that you want to listen to, and you touch play.
Okay.
It's,
So
yeah,
when you put your stick in, up on your window will come the list
yes, yes.
automatically. I don't have to push anything to get
Yes,
it
you
to
do.
come.
When you put your stick in, I want you to touch the fast forward arrow on your music recorder so that it brings up that list of songs.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay. That's how you get the songs up. Okay.
Yes. Yep. Good question. Very good question. Yep. And then if you wanted to access the presets, then you touch the USB on your screen. That's a different thing. And it will tell you things like, let me just stick this in here. This is not the right one, but if I touch USB, it will come up with load presets. Well, if you didn't put any in there, you don't have any on there. Save presets, that's for you to save your work. Rename presets in case you put some in there and forgot to put the name on or didn't have time. Delete presets, you can take a file out at a time. So if you put in a whole file of Dance of the Sugar Plum Fairy and you hated them, you can delete that entire file and start over again. Format the device. You don't really want to do that because you don't have to. Load song presets. That's the one. It's on that second column. So that would load all the presets of the songs that were done with presets. So like 2 of mine were done with presets. 1 of mine was done with song setup. So that one would not be on there. The Holiday for Strings would not be on load song presets. Okay? But if you wanted to steal
I'm
my
reading
presets,
fast.
if you wanted to take my presets and not have to do the work, which is not what I want you to do. I want you to do the
I
work
know.
and find what's on your organ.
Okay. Understand.
Okay, but you could do that if you wanted to.
Yeah,
Or you could
okay.
take anything that, if Joni used presets on her songs, you could take those presets and just play the songs.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Good enough. Then
Good
after,
Go
once,
ahead.
once you pick the song by fast forwarding,
Mhm.
you pick the song, you,
You can scroll. You can use this scroll. Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And
All
then you
right.
just
come
touch
back,
play.
you just play and you're on your way, right?
Yeah, that's it.
Adjust your volume.
Mhm.
Okay. Thank
Yep.
you.
It's
Got it.
very, very easy. If you've never used a stick before, don't be afraid of it.
Yeah.
Don't
Well,
be afraid
I've
of it.
used CDs. I've
Okay.
recorded, played on CD. The
Oh,
stick
okay.
is a little new.
All
A
right.
little new.
It's
Okay,
actually
thank you.
easier. I think the
Mhm.
stick is easier.
Okay, we're gonna find out.
And again, if you have any questions after you start doing this and you say, nope, I'm still struggling, email me. Email me
Okay.
or email your favorite PA, and we're more
I'll
than
go down-
happy to
I'll go
walk
down
you
s-
through it.
Okay,
Good
I'll go down and
question.
see Jerome.
Yeah,
Thank you.
you're welcome. All right, next question. Oh, Barbie's behind me. She's got one. You don't have to do any memorizing because that would save the work that you're doing. Okay, so you can use that same stick. I'm sure there's lots of room on it to save your own presets. You can do that. So Barbie asked the question, does she have to do any memorizing on the stick? No, the stick comes complete. But if you want to take my presets and you want to put them in, first you put them in your organ, you memorize them into your organ, And then you put your stick in, put your USB, and it doesn't have to be that stick, it can be any stick. And then you touch Save Presets, because once they're memorized into your instrument, in the A bank or the B bank, wherever you put them, then you want to save your work. You want to save them from the organ to the stick. And then you have an option to name them. You could just leave them in file 2 and then it can go on and save another group. Or you can actually go in and name them right off the bat. And that's a little bit tedious, but it does work, because all you're doing is touch and scroll. You're going to have some cursors and uppercase, lowercase. There's a little line that's going to go underneath each letter when you control that with an arrow, and then you scroll until you get to the right letter. And you can't make a mistake, because if you accidentally erase something, you just go back and fix it. Don't worry about making mistakes. It's going to happen. You won't save it until you touch the bottom of the screen and it says Save Presets. Save Presets. Got it or not? If you're still, sometimes you just have to sit down at the instrument and do it and try it, because it's really not that hard. We will today, if there's more time, do one of these preset sheets and just find things on your instrument and actually put them into the organ. And then we can save it to a stick, step by step. Because I know a lot of times in my classes I don't have time to go through that process. And I think that's what Robert wants to do a little bit of too this coming week, is work with the process of saving your presets once you've got them in your organ. Now, hitting the reset button, let's talk about that a little bit. Let's say we're putting in Dawn's presets, and it's either Christmas and Dixie or Dance of the Sugar Plum Fairy, or maybe you got my Please Come Home for Christmas in my Wednesday class and you want to put those in. Everything is listed by letters. Now, when you first start doing this, you want to do the setup for A1. Don't touch A1. You want to make the setup for A1 first. Just go down the line and find everything that there is to do to make that setup. Once you have everything done, and I know Connie tells me she can do this in about 3 minutes, do this whole thing, because after a while it starts to become second nature. Once you have everything in here, then you want to save it to preset A1 once it's in. So then I would go memorize, and I know Jerome did this a lot. He repeated the process. Memorize the letter, probably A, then the number. It's A1. That's the one you just set up. Then you go to your screen, and it's going to say with style and with transpose. I just do yes and yes. Touch them both. Then you turn off your memorize button, and now it's in there. It'll say memorized to, and then the screen goes away. If you do not finalize it with that memorize button by turning it off, it's going to stay in your screen. That's how you know you're not done yet. It'll say memorizing to A1, yes, yes. But if you don't turn that memorize button off, it's not going to put it in there. So once you turn off that memorize button, then it'll say memorized to A1, and the screen will go away. Now you're going to set up A2. Don't touch A2. If you touch A2, now it's not the end of the world, but don't touch A2. Now you want to work from what you just did. If you touch A2, you kind of erased everything. You've got it in A1, but that's not the point. You want to work from what you just did. So you leave everything the way it is, and then you work on A2. And in this case, Christmas and Dixie says A2 drums volume all the way to the top. So you follow the directions, and if that's all there is, now you save the whole thing to A2. Memorize A2. Now don't get upset. A and 2 are not going to light up. A and 2 will not light up, but it will show A and 2 in the screen. Okay? A, 2, yes, yes, with transpose, with style, because we do a lot of changing of the backgrounds. Then you turn your memorize button off and it'll say memorize to A2 and then that screen goes away. Now you want to work on A3. A3 I only have one for Christmas in Dixie. Take your upper harmony and put it on country harmony. And if you want to sit and listen to it, you can. You can test it out before you actually save it. You can test it and see if it sounds right. And that's the only thing you have to do for A3. Now don't touch A3. You're always working from the last one you just did. So now you would memorize A3. Once you fix it the way it says to fix it, or maybe on yours you go, yeah, this is a little too loud. I may have to make this a little softer and this a little louder, because every organ is a little different. But once you have this in here, now you say, okay, memorize A, it's not going to light up. 3, it's not going to light up, but it will tell you in the window. Memorizing to A3, then you touch with style, with transpose, yes, yes, and it'll still say memorizing to. The last step is to come back to the memorize button and turn it off. Once you turn it off, it'll say memorized to A3, and that screen goes away and it's there. The next thing you do is A4. Don't touch A4, just do what it says, and so on and so forth. It's a process. This is a computer. If you do everything in the right order, you'll have it. Now, what happens if I accidentally touch, okay, I'm working on A4, A4. I just erased everything I did. No, you didn't. It's still there. But now you just have to go back and press A3 and work from A3, because you always want to work from the last one that you did. Is there anybody who does not understand that?
Dawn,
Yes?
it's Inez.
Hi.
Okay, I haven't done this because the other organ didn't have the stick, and I'm not too savvy with the stick. So after
Did you get your organ last night or not?
Yeah, at 6 o'clock last
Yeah.
night. Oh, I forgot how to use it, but anyway, that's another. So
He was
when
having
you're
some issues. Yeah.
when you're done doing all the presets,
Mhm.
then does something come up and you can put in the name of the song that you did?
That is when something doesn't just automatically come up. Once it's in the organ, it's in the organ.
Okay.
Okay?
So
You've
when
got-
you take out that stick and then you put it back in, if you have 2 or 3 songs in there, how do you go pick the right one?
Okay. You haven't done the last step. The first
Okay.
step is to save them into the organ. Okay? Everything we just did is saving these presets, or whoever's presets you're using, into the organ. They're not here yet. They don't automatically just go here. You have to put them on here. Okay, so how do you do that? All right, let's do it right now. I'm going to take my stick, put it in. Now it comes up load presets, save presets, rename presets, all this stuff. What one do I choose? Which one do I choose?
Load preset?
No, if you hit load presets, you're going to have to start all over again. No,
Thank
you
you.
want to save your work.
Okay.
Save your work. Now, I wish they would have put load and save in 2 different columns, because it's too easy to press the wrong one. Press save presets. You want to save your work to the stick, from the organ to the stick. So I'm going to touch Save Presets. Be careful that you do not touch Load Presets. And then it says, please wait, accessing files. And then all my files come up. My summer concert, my name game concert, my old and new concert, Hotel California, Nights in White Satin. And then I come to the first free file. And I touch it and turn it blue. And you also want to check at the top of the screen that you are indeed on Save Presets. If it says Load Presets, use your feature clear to get out of that screen and go back to USB and go back in and press Save Presets. They're right next to each other, and sometimes it's you press the wrong one or you think you got the right one. Read the top of the screen so you don't end up having to do it again. Save Presets. I then touch the first clean screen that I have, free file, and now it says preset group name, and it says preset group 14, and you've got the little line under the first one. It'll say uppercase, lowercase, numbers, and symbols. You have 2 arrows, and you have a space bar. The space bar will erase everything. And you can't make a mistake here. You can say whatever you want. I'm going to hit uppercase. Now is when you name the song. And you're naming the file. And if I've got 2 songs in here, I've got Dixie in A, and I've got Sugar Plum Fairy in E. But you just want to name the file. Name the file. You can name it whatever you want. Now, you don't have very far. So you have to abbreviate it somehow so you will know what that file is. So you might want to put Dance of SPF, Dance of Sugar Plum Fairy, or Dance / SP Fairy. Whatever's going to trigger your brain to know that those presets are now in group 14. And all you do is when you get to the letter, you're just scrolling D. Okay, then I'm going to touch an arrow, and the little line goes underneath the next letter. If I want it to be uppercase, I can do them all uppercase, or maybe I want to do lowercase. And you touch lowercase and scroll. Forward or backwards, doesn't matter. Now it says A. Then you're going to just do the arrow, and you just keep going down the line with your little line. Just move your cursor along and put it in the way you want it. If you don't like it, go back in and put something else in. If you don't like it tomorrow, once you save it, you can also change it tomorrow. That's what rename preset is. You can also go in and rename it. So now at the bottom, once you're done, it'll say cancel or save. Cancel or save. If you want to save it, you touch save at the bottom, and then they all go to the stick. Okay, that's the process that we never get a chance to talk about in class because we always run out of time. So once it's in the organ, then you want to save it to your USB stick. Now, I recommend 8 gigs or smaller. You use a 32, it's not going to work. It's going to lock up your organ. As a matter of fact, Bill Ingalls, the guy who works on the organs here, he says get a half a one, a 0.5. I think you have to find those online. If you can get a 2 or a 4, those are the best sizes for me to use. I have used an 8 because sometimes those little ones are hard to find. Do not get a 16. Do not get a 32. Those big ones, use them in your computer. The organ takes a long time to read the sticks, so get the smallest ones possible. All right, so let's say that I put things in my organ, I'm working on my presets, and I only get as far as A5. Okay, I'm not done with it yet. What happens if I press the reset button?
Lose it.
Nope, I will not.
No.
No, see, here's the beauty of this. Your organ will hold all of it. If you press the reset button, it will hold them. If you turn your organ off, it will hold them. Yeah. How do you get rid of them? You can
Total
access
reset?
the total reset. Or if you go to your window touch your feature button. Now you've got all these white rectangles. If you scroll to the reset, I'm on the Imperial and it comes up on page 10. If you touch reset, you have two choices. You can reset the presets, or you can do a total reset. So if you want to do a total reset, you just touch it and then everything will be gone. Okay? Or the other way you could lose your presets is if somebody comes over to your house and says, "Oh, Inez, I just did Carrie's song and it's so fabulous. You got to hear what I did." And she comes over to your organ and she sticks in a stick and all of a sudden, loaded her stuff into your organ and you forgot to save your own presets. What happened to your presets?
They're gone.
They're gone, correct. Which is, it happened to me once at a concert, I'll never forget. Because I don't always save my presets to do a concert. I just set up my concert and, an hour before I'm supposed to play and just go play it. And then I'll erase everything. It doesn't matter. Well, somebody came in and said, "I'm so excited to show you what I just did." Went to the organ, and before I could think about it, the guy stuck his stick in, loaded his stuff, and my concert was gone. A half an hour before I was supposed to play. So that is a way you could lose your presets. So you could have somebody load presets with a stick, will take presets out. Resetting presets will take presets out. Doing a total reset in your screen will take presets out. Or doing the 5-finger hard reset, the EFABC, the one that we usually use for glitches, that will take your presets out. So the moral of the story is save often. Even if you have 10 presets and you're only on preset A5 and you spent a lot of time on it, save it to your stick. Save it to your stick because you can always save on top of that file. Then you can come back tomorrow, and if they're still in there, good, keep working on them. If they somehow got erased, they're here. Now you can load the presets back into your organ, and you just scroll to the file that you saved them in, turn it blue, and it will say load all. Load A to A to B, just hit load all. Load all. That's the biggest one in the screen, load all. Then that whole thing comes back, and now you can go to A5 and pick up right where you left off, finish doing what you were doing, and resave them to the same file. When you go to your stick to save your work, remember you're always saving from the organ to your stick, save your work. It'll bring up all your files. You go to the same file that you just saved them in, touch it, turn it blue, and it's going to give you a choice. Overwrite, yes, or cancel and go to the next one. Overwrite, absolutely, you want to overwrite it. So that's what you do is you touch overwrite, and then the old stuff and the new stuff is all now in one file. It's logic, but here's the thing. We're human beings, and sometimes our logic is a little bit different from computer logic. So it's just a process. It's a process, and it is tedious, and you do have to just follow the process. And once you do it a couple of times, it'll become pretty easy. Now, here's the thing. If you forget, Robert has a sheet, and it's included in your stick that you're going to be getting on how to save presets. It's there. Okay? It's all written down.
If
Go
you
ahead.
just save it to the organ, let's say you want to do a medley.
Okay.
So you have one song preset, second song presets, third song preset. So are you naming those songs right after you do the preset?
Not
Or
until you put it, you can't name the song until you put it on your stick. You cannot
Oh.
name, yeah, so what you have to do is I keep track I keep track of what I do and make sure that the name of the A bank right now is going to be
Okay,
Walking in a Winter Wonderland. The B bank, I'm going to put my presets in for a medley, and it's going to be Let It Snow, Let It Snow. Then I'll put in the C bank, I'll put in the next song. Because when you touch Save All, when you go to the file, it saves all of these. It doesn't just save the A bank.
right.
It saves A, B, C, D, and E. Even if you don't have anything on the D and the E, it still saves it. It saves the whole thing.
So if
The
you
E,
medley and you have 3 songs, so you have the first song saved in A, the second song in B, the third song in C.
you can do that. Or if you only have like 3 setups for the first song, you can do A1, 2, and 3. Now we're getting into the harder organizing stuff. And then the second song, you can put
So then
in,
as you're playing,
the second song, you can now put in a 4, 5, 6, 7, however many presets you need. And let's say the last song, you only need 1 preset, so you can put it in A8. You can just line them straight up.
okay,
Okay? You don't have to put each song separately into each A, B, C bank if you don't want. I usually just line up my concerts, but then I keep a sheet of A1 through 3 is this song, A4 and
Okay.
5 are this song. I have to keep a sheet.
okay,
Because remember, when you name it in a file on your stick, you only have this much room. So you might want to put Christmas concert.
yeah. So to
Or-
name it, you can only do it if you're doing a stick. You cannot name it if you're just saving it on the organ.
Correct.
Got it.
Dawn?
Okay.
Correct. Yes.
Don,
Yes. Hi,
I have a
Gary.
suggestion. Hi, how are you?
Good.
I have a suggestion. If you're going to do multiple songs in your banks, like for instance, bank A is song 1, bank B is song 2, bank C is song 3. What I do is, because I use the bank A0 and I'll say that is song 1, I'll rename it. Then bank B0, I'll rename it to my second song. Bank
Okay.
C0, rename it to my second song, because I normally only use presets 1 through 10.
Okay. Okay.
Therefore, 0 is available, so I can rename 0 and it'll then show on the screen. So I know that bank A is song 0. It says that right on the screen.
In your organ, you're talking about.
Yes,
Oh, which organ do you have, Gary?
every area, but I did that on the Prestige too. Because when you
I guess
when
I've
you
just never done
press
that.
custom 4,
Uh-huh.
when you press custom 4 and it shows you all your presets,
Yes.
it shows you 1 to 10.
Right.
But if you don't have any of them turned on, it also shows you what number 0 is.
Mm-hmm.
So I just go in and rename 0.
Oh, you're just renaming it.
So I
Okay.
say number 0 is song 1 in bank A.
Okay.
So now I
Okay.
know it's whatever, jingle bells.
Okay, Gary, if I'm on, I don't do that. Okay, there's a lot of things that I don't know. So you're going to
Okay.
teach me today. If
Okay.
I have in my e file Dance of the Sugar Plum Fairy right now. Okay,
Yes.
so if I go to my 0, I go to my number 4 custom,
Yes, yes,
shows up in my window what all my sounds are,
yes,
and I'm going to touch the 0 slot, right?
yes.
Okay,
yes.
now what do I do?
Go to rename bank preset.
Where?
It should say right, there should be a bar there that says, or you can go into featured clear and go into rename bank presets.
Okay, hold on. I'm going to do this because I want to make sure I can get this. I'm sure these organs do so many things, and I don't use them all either. I am such a paper pencil person. Preset information, rename bank preset. Yeah, you know what?
Yes.
That's on page 6.
Right, so you can rename any
Very
of
good.
the slots from
You
0
can
through
rename the
11.
slot. Very cool.
So rename
Yeah.
slot 0 to be the name of your song.
There it goes. Yes. Very
now you-
good.
so now
Hey,
you'll
I learned something today.
it
I
on
can
the
go home
screen.
now. Yes, if you go to page 6 or whatever page it happens to be on in your feature clear, I had already touched my E0, so that's the one that came up, and it comes up exactly the way it would come up as if you were going to name it to your stick. You've got uppercase, lowercase, and now I can touch it and rename exactly the same way. Touch my arrow, it goes over, and it'll rename it. Very, very nice. Thank you, Gary.
No
What a
problem.
wonderful thing. So you can
I,
rename
I,
each bank.
I rename all my presets that way, even if I've only got one song on it, just so that the next time when I load that preset from the stick, I can verify that by looking at slot 0 that it's the song that I really want,
Nice.
that
Nice.
I did the right one.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Takes a little extra work, but it works out in the
If you're
end.
yeah, especially if you're using banks A, banks B, bank C, for each one a separate song, yeah, it's very hard to name it on a stick when you only have this much of a file. So
Exactly.
absolutely, very nice. Very nice. Props to you. Yes, because now I learned
Thank
something.
you. And the other suggestion I would make is for when you get the USB stick for the holiday camp we did
Uh-huh.
last week,
Uh-huh.
I would make sure you make a copy of that USB stick on your computer,
Mm-hmm.
just so that you have it and you
Just
don't
in
lose it.
case.
Because
Just
if
in
anybody
case.
is going around and doing what you're teaching today and they start messing with it, they might start messing what's on the stick. At least you have a backup of it.
Yeah, backups are always good. Or you might lose it someplace, or your cat decides it becomes a toy and takes it and buries it in her
Yeah.
litter box
Yeah.
or whatever,
Mhm.
which happens. Yes, absolutely. Great suggestion. Back up the stick. Yeah. Yes. Great stuff. Okay, any other questions or suggestions? A lot of it seems like it's tedious work. Um, It is, but on the other hand, if you've spent a lot of time making an arrangement and putting it in, you want to know where it is. Save your work. Save your work and label it. And I label mine on my sticks, but that's if you want to label it right in your organ, go ahead and do that too, as Gary told us. It works.
And
Dawn?
do a lot of saving while you're creating your presets, because I've had situations, glitches in the organ, I guess, where I've suddenly gone to save something and the organ locks up. Well,
Mhm.
now I've lost everything that I've done. But if I
And
had
then you
been
gotta
saving
start
after
all
every
over.
preset, I would have been okay.
Hmm. Well, usually it's after every session. You know, if
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, because your organ will sometimes do that. And I'll tell you what, when you spend a lot of time, go ahead. Who just asked the next question?
Dawn,
Yes.
I was just gonna say, when I save mine, I also write it down on a tablet,
Mm-hmm.
which is a little easier for me, Mr. Gary.
I'm paper and pencil too. I really am.
Mhm.
I'm still old-fashioned paper pencil too. But you choose the best way that's for you to organize all of your presets, because if you spent the time to do it, and I'll tell you what, there's nothing worse than losing everything. When I first started using presets, I was actually in a band in Cancun when sequencers were just coming out, when it was like an 8-track sequencer in a keyboard, and we were putting together a show for 2 people, and we wanted to have all the background stuff in the organ. They didn't come like this. They didn't come like this. We had to write our own parts. We had to write the drum part. We had to write the bass part. We had to write any keyboard parts we weren't playing. We left out the guitar part and the singing part and whatever solo parts I was playing on the keyboard. So now we had full orchestra totally created by us. It wasn't as easy as just putting on country background and having your country band playing. We spent a week on our first song. I'll never forget it. It was I've Had the Time of My Life from Dirty Dancing. Sure, we pick one that has full orchestra. And they were there were some construction workers digging down the street, putting in a telephone wire or something, and they cut a wire, and we lost electricity, and we lost it all.
Mm.
Mm-hmm. So a week's worth of work gone because we didn't save it. And we didn't have sticks at that time. It was a floppy drive. But because we didn't save it, because we were still working on it, it was all gone. So now we had to recreate everything and do it all again. So that was my first lesson in save early, save often. Just save it, because you can always delete it later. But yeah, save it, because if you do get a glitch, it might not even be your fault, and all of a sudden your work is gone and you will cry. If you spent a lot of time on it, you will cry. Absolutely.
Dawn,
Yeah.
can I take you back a little ways?
Yes.
You, in the procedure with, before you took, like you were saving to your stick, okay?
Mm-hmm.
You got part of it saved and you're gonna finish the rest tomorrow, okay?
Mm-hmm.
When you took the stick out, you said push the reset.
Only if you want to erase everything.
Okay, I heard you say something about reset.
Well, the
Okay,
reset over here, your
Yeah.
reset or your home button doesn't do anything.
okay,
That's not going
Uh,
to take out any of your presets.
okay,
Turning the organ off will not take out your presets. It'll still be there
Okay.
in the morning.
all right,
But a glitch or a construction worker down the street
yeah,
or a lightning strike
strike, yeah.
could take out your presets. You don't know that. So the advice
Or your-
is save
Or
it off.
your wife cooking and overloads the circuit.
Yeah. Yep. So
Okay,
now, do you have to load it back in the next day when you're ready to work on it again? If it's still in there, no, you don't have to. But if it's gone for whatever reason, now you have to load it back in.
okay,
And then
Thank
just work where you left off. And then resave it to the same file.
okay.
Yeah, this is stuff
you.
we normally didn't get a chance to talk about during any classes.
So the preset 0 that Gary was talking about, was that only to name the song, or was he putting an additional sound on there?
He was
You
only
can do
using it to
initial-
name the song. But
You
you
can put a sound in there
can,
too.
you can put a sound in there, absolutely. You
Okay.
don't, yeah, you can start with A0. You can. You don't have
Okay.
to start with A1. You can start with A0 and go right from there. Now, I'm going to tell you why I usually leave A0 blank. And that's because sometimes I will go back in and add an introduction. And if I add an introduction after I've already done all my presets, it's kind of nice to have that A0 that I can put a preset in A0, because I can still go up and down my line. I don't want to have the intro over here and then have to come back to A1. Most of the time, what I will do is hit custom number 3. It's different on all the organs, but number 3, for the most part, brings up a screen that says next preset. You can also get to that by going to your feature clear and scrolling until it says next preset. And you can put your next preset on touch bars or your foot switch. And I'll usually put it on my right foot switch because it will send all my presets forward one at a time. One at a time. It'll just make them go. You can kind of see the light going. I'm doing that with my foot. That way, I don't have to take my hands off the keys to reach up and touch a preset. I can just kick my foot. Now be careful, because sometimes you can kick twice. Or if you've got big shoes, sometimes you lean on it, it'll go 3 or 4. So you gotta really get used to just kicking it once. Just kick it over once. I usually don't set it up going to the left because that sets it backwards, and I set everything up linearly. If I have to cut and paste, like for example, Dance with the Sugar Plum Fairy, I'm only using 2 presets. I could have just gone back and forth between the 2. And then I would have wanted to have my left kick switch on so that I could have gone backwards too, and then I would just go backwards, forwards, backwards, forward. I could have done that. That's not how Daun operates. You all have to find your own way of organizing. I would rather cut and paste and have 5 or 6 in a row so that I'm just constantly kicking forward so I don't have to think which direction do I have to kick in, forward or backwards. Especially because when you get as old as I am, then you got to start worrying about thinking about stuff. Yeah. You could also put it on a touch bar, but it's the same thing. I like using my touch bar for fill-ins. I like using this for fill-ins. I don't want to use this. And besides, if I use my left touch bar, it's going to send it backwards. I don't like anything going backwards. If I put it on the right touch bar, now I still have to get my hand out of position to move my presets. So for me, using that foot switch is the best way for me to move my presets. Yeah, so presets can be a wonderful, wonderful tool for making arrangements, or for doing medleys, or for doing concerts. If you're going to do more than one song at a time, just line them all up. You can stop in between if you want. Just line them up and just keep on going. Good stuff. Good stuff. Any other questions? How are we doing on time? Oh, my goodness gracious. Time flies when you're having a good time.
I have a question.
Okay.
It's much smaller than what we've been talking about. On the Dance of the Sugar Plum Fairy, it says levels solo 180 and solo 280. I don't know how to get there.
Ah, okay. Now, that is one of the probably one of the least significant things that I put on that sheet, because we had to do everything on a Prestige in order to send it to Robert. And
Oh,
yeah, so I'm going to show you how to do it. But I also want you to realize that normally I do stuff on an Imperial, but Robert wanted everything on a Prestige. So I had to change balancing and levels. And this is something that's very important. And I think Jerome also alluded to this on his class. Different organs don't always come up the same. I'm going to answer that question in a minute, is which organs can I put my stick in then after I do this? So I did it in the Prestige, and it was so loud. What number was that? Levels, yeah, I'm in A1. A1 is usually the hardest one to do because you have to set up everything. Levels is just balance. Something was overpowering something else. So I had already taken my blue solos, which was, oh, I know what it was. It's the blue solos. I had my bassoon going to the bottom. Oh, 9's an E. And it was so loud in the Prestige that I had to bring it down in the solo section, and it still was too loud. So what I did is I went to levels. You can do individual levels, not only just on board, because levels are nothing more than volumes. You have a solo volume. If you've got the bigger organs, every single solo, orchestra has its own volumes. If you go to the feature clear and get all these white rectangles going across, page 1, first one is going to say levels balance. It's going to have balance in parentheses. So if you touch that, the first page, and it's different on each instrument, says orc and solo. Orchestra 1, orchestral 2, solo 1, solo 2. Because especially like on an Imperial, I have 2 reds going at the same time, but I only have 1 volume control. If I go to levels, I can control each sound separately.
okay.
So I go to levels, and if I want orchestral or solo, they're listed. And I've got solo 180, solo 280. They were at 100. And it just made them way too loud. They were just way too loud for me, so I brought them down. And this is what you have to do, is if you go through the process of putting all these in your instrument, maybe you've got a marquee or a grand marquee, and all of a sudden you're going, wait a minute. That's too soft. I can't hear it. Okay. Let's find out how you can bring it up. If there's nothing in your graphic mixer, if you don't have anything on board, go into your levels. If it's not your orchestral and solo, there's nothing more than volumes. It's just breaking it into smaller sections. If I turn orchestral and solo blue, now I scroll to the next page. Upper. Oh, I can actually take my sound effects and make them louder or softer. My harmony can be louder or softer. My genius sound, my tab sound can be louder or softer. My theater section can be louder or softer. If I go to lower, same thing. All of these can be controlled separately. If I have too many strings, I can control it from the levels and I can leave all my organ sounds loud, but I can put my strings down, or vice versa. If I scroll again, it says others. And each organ's going to say it a little bit differently. Drums, even though it says it's up to 100, it's only at 50% here. Pedal genius, and one that I find to be very important, golden harp. How often do we use golden harp? And the levels of golden harp, wow, sometimes you can't hear it at all. Sometimes you put on a bell and now all of a sudden it's too loud because I used a sound that's too loud and it overpowers my melody. So if you go to levels,
Okay.
you can make your golden harp softer or louder. If that's the only thing you learned today, you're coming out way ahead. It's very valuable to know that.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
especially if you're
So-
making your own arrangements, having or going through, if Carrie gave you a sheet of presets and you go, oh my God, he's got golden harp so high. Well, maybe on his organ it was perfect. And then you take that home and do it on yours and it's like, it's too loud. I think I'll just turn it off. No, you don't have to turn it off. Just turn it down. You don't have a golden harp master switch on the organ, on the face of the instrument, to turn down the volume. You have to go into that levels and find your golden harp and just bring it down.
Okay. Okay.
When you do all that, Dawn, will it default?
Yes, it will. Yes, it will. The next time you change a preset, it's gone. So what do you have to do? Save it to a preset.
Yeah.
That's right.
Oh,
Save
okay.
it into
Save
your
it.
preset.
Otherwise, oh my goodness.
Huh? You can also lock it. There are control locks. And
Oh.
sometimes you can use some of your locks, but I am just a huge fan of save it.
Okay.
You can tweak it later, but save it. Yeah. Yeah, levels is something that it's very insignificant, but it's also important to learn.
Mhm.
Is the lower left on that too?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yes.
My lower left was not coming up to where I could hardly hear it.
Ah.
And song of the sugar dance of the sugar plum fairy.
Mm-hmm. If you can't hear it, then you can go, there's a couple places you can go. You can go over to your graphic mixer where it
Yeah,
says
right.
lower. Your lower is everything that says lower on your lower tabs. You can do all the tabs. Or you can push a couple extra tabs if you want, because the more tabs you push, the more sound you're getting.
Okay.
Or you could go to levels, page 1, top of it, and scroll until you get to lower. Then each one of them, your theater, your genius or your sound tab, your strings and vocals, they're kind of clumped into one, and then all your flutes, which are your organ sounds, you can control those volumes separately. Each one you can say, okay, I don't want as much of my genius, I want at 100, but my strings are too loud. So you touch the number and you lower it. Everything
Okay.
is touch and scroll. Yeah, and then
Good.
save it
Save it. Right.
once you have it, because guess what?
Thank
Tomorrow you
you.
can change it. Tomorrow you might go, what was I thinking? That doesn't sound right. Change it. Go in and change, tweak it, change it, play it again, resave it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Good stuff. Barbie's got a question behind me here. The first thing you have to do to get to levels is touch your feature or your feature clear button. Touch it and you'll have all these white rectangles showing up in your window. And it should be on page 1, it should be the very first thing. Now other organs might be a little bit different, but levels or balance is nothing more than volumes. It's taken apart every single individual thing and you can control the volumes individually, which is pretty nice. Yep.
It is. Yes, thank you.
Yeah, good stuff. Golden harp was always one that for the longest time I couldn't figure out how can I change the volume of a golden harp. And when I learned where it was, I was like, oh, that's fabulous. Because now you'll use it more often.
Right.
Now, for those of you that also have the balance, those of you that have Inspires, and I think the Fanfare is the first one that has it. I think if Freddie, correct me if I'm wrong, it has that balance. Yeah. What the balance is an easy one-touch solution to I'm not hearing enough bass, I'm not hearing enough lower, or my melody's too loud, or my melody's too soft. Then you can just touch your balance and get more bass and less melody, or the opposite. And it's just a one push thing right on board. So you don't have to do all of this stuff.
Whichever way it's going, you got to have at least one green light on.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, you'll lose that whole side, either melody or bass.
Correct.
Yeah.
That is correct. That's
Yeah.
a good thing.
Yeah.
If you take it all the way to the treble, you just took your bass out completely.
Yeah, you don't hear it at all.
Absolutely. So it's balance. So you can put it where it's pleasing to your ear. Some people like it a little heavy on the bass. Some people do not like boom boom bass and boom boom drums. And so you want more melody. That's totally up to you. And that's why that's such a wonderful button to have as well.
Yeah, I did that with Dance at a Sugar Plum Fairy, melody all the way up to one green light.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Very cool. Yeah. Your ears
Just
are
so I
gonna-
had one green light on the left, I still had bass.
Yep, that's exactly correct. Yep. So you can fix it any way you want. Now, for those of you that don't have that balance button, call your favorite PA and they can fix it for you. See me after class. Wow. You guys got into some deep stuff today. Yeah. But that's why sometimes we just need a session like this where we can just talk about the stuff we don't normally get around to. Because some of it is a little tedious. Some of it you don't really need to know, but some of it you do. So if you learned one thing, you are 100% successful today. Now, I also promised any other questions before I go into fingering, because I did promise, shh, be quiet, shh. I did promise people that I would put fingering in, and because I did 2 songs, I never had a chance to do fingering for Sugar Plum Fairy and Christmas in Dixie, so I will do that for you today for those people that need it, but it will be the last thing that we do. So are there any other questions?
Dawn, I want to thank you for doing this. Got a lot out of it. Thank you.
Good.
Yeah. Very
Good.
good. Thank you.
And we'll keep repeating it, and don't be afraid to repeat your questions if you forget. It's okay. And hopefully
Okay.
Robert will kind of hit on the same stuff, and sometimes he'll express something a little differently than how I did, and so you'll go, oh, well, now that makes sense,
Yeah.
because we all express it a little bit differently.
Yeah.
So if he's going to do something about presets this week, watch him, because it'll probably reinforce a lot of the stuff that we did, and you may even learn some new stuff. I learn new stuff every day. Thank you, Gary.
Welcome.
I always learn stuff. There's so much to learn on these.
Yeah.
Okay.
Some,
Well, thanks again. See you on Monday.
Okay, sounds like a good plan. Thank you guys for coming.
Mm.
It's been fabulous. I love answering your questions. I love playing for you all. And for the rest of you that would like fingering, let's do Sugar Plum Fairy first.
Dawn,
Okay. Yes.
before you do the fingering, can you tell me where the duet is on the marquee?
Yes, it's under your upper harmony. If you touch your harmony button, it'll all come up in the screen.
Got it. Thank you.
It's been so long since you've had your organ.
I know.
I'm so sorry for you, Inez. It's going to be relearning the whole thing.
Oh, I can get my manual. Thank you.
You'll get it. You'll get it. Yep.
This is Craig. I have one quick question.
Hi, Craig. It's good to see you.
Hi. What is a dominant chord? What does that mean?
The dominant chord. I don't want to give you the wrong answer. Every single one of these. That has to do with scales and stuff. Usually the dominant chord is the 5 chord of the scale.
Ooh,
Now,
okay.
Joe Fontesha probably has all this stuff in his brain, and I studied it in college, and you'll probably never hear it from me again because it's not that important. You just read the letters that are on here. A dominant.
You don't have to.
Subdominant, there's an aeolian, there's a mixolydian, there's a dominant. I think the dominant is the 5th grade of the scale. So if you're in the key of C, your dominant would be G. Now, if I'm wrong on that, I know nothing, so I plead the 5th.
Oh, thank you.
It's not that important, really, unless you have to take an exam, unless you're going to music theory class.
No.
I'll look it up, and then I'll tell you on Monday if you come to the Monday class.
Okay.
I'll look it up just to make sure, just to double check. All right, here we go for fingering. Any other questions before I start? Nope. Okay. All right, here we go. Dance of the Sugar Plum Fairy. Remember, these are suggestions only. Your fingers are going to want to go where they go for you. So you might want to erase mine. Mine's just a guide to get you started. F5, D3, F5, E4, C sharp 2, D3. Which one is easier? I've got 2 different ways to do this. Let's do C1, C1, C1. B3, circle it. That's going to be your crossover. B3, B3, B3. B flat 2, B flat 2, B flat 2. A1. D4. B flat 2. D4. A1. Now if your fingers go 2-5 instead of 1-4, that's fine. Whichever fingers get there first, and you're not stumbling over your fingers. Then your ba-da-da-da-dum is always going to be 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Even though the first one ends on a black key. Usually I tell you, don't put your thumbs on black keys. It's still the easiest way to do that. Ba-da-da-da-dum, because they're so fast. Be careful with that. The first one is the hardest. All right, let's go to line 3. F3, D1, F3. E can be 2 or 1. Make it a 1. Make that E a 1. Da da dum dum. Put that thumb down. B flat 3, A1, high F5. Now again, you guys, you're going to have to figure out, is that the easiest for you? Because it goes so fast. Because you got to spider your hand. So a 3-1 for me worked the best. Let's go to line 4. E4, E4, E4. D3, D3, D3. C sharp 2. E4, D3, E4, C sharp 2. Now you have your little blurb. That one's easy because it's just 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 down the white keys. Let's go to the top of the second page. F5, D3, F5, E4. C#2, D3. All right, C1, C1, C1. B3 with a circle. That's your crossover. B3, B3, B3. B flat 2, B flat 2, B flat 2. A1. D4, B flat 2, D4, A1. Be consistent. Every time you play the same phrase, use the same fingers because your fingers will actually remember it. Then your little blurby thing. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's go to line 3, D4, B2, D4, C#3. Check mark. Lift your hand, reposition it. C3, A1, C3, B2. Check mark. Next line. B flat 3, G1, B flat 3, A2. First ending A2, D5. Second ending A2, D5. Questions?
What does LK stand for?
What does what?
LK above the FEDCA, FEDCB, the extra notes?
Lower keyboard. That's Robert's way of saying lower keyboard.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, I always just put L. L means lower. Robert put LK, lower keyboard.
Oh, thank you.
Yep, you want to do all your bassoon sounds down here, and then your bells up here.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yep, Barbie likes to do L and then put a little arrow pointing down to remind her that it is the lower keyboard. Yep, we all do it a little differently. All right, let's do Christmas in Dixie. Everybody got it in front of them? All right, let's go. E2, G4, G4, F3, E2, D1, F3. Second line, B5, B5, A4, A4, B5, G3, E2, G4, G4, F3, E2, D1, F3. D1, B5, B5, A4, B5, G3. Next line, C1, high Cs are all fives. The A at the end of the line is a 3. Let's go to page 2. B4, B4, A3, B4, G2. E1, G4, G4, F3, E2, D1, F3. Now you could have made that first E at the end of that line. You could have just gone right to the 2 on that. But since you were already on a 2, I just stretched my thumb down and then spidered my fingers over. All right, so line 2 is D1, F3. Check mark. You're going to start a whole new phrase. F5, F5, D3, C2, B1, C2. Third line, E5, D4, C3, C3, A1. G2. Yeah, if you want to circle it, you could, because that's technically it's a crossover, but there is a rest in there. B4, B4. Cross out this G, make it an A. Sounds better as an A. Make it a 3. B4. Line 4, G is 2. E1, E1, G4. We're going to spider our hand down again. You might want to put a little arrow on that note. F3, E2, D1, F3, check mark, because now you're going to reposition your hand on a new phrase. F5, F5, E4, D3, B1, C2. Let's go to the next section, your instrumental, C3, C3, D4, E5, low E1. Now somebody, I think it was Brenda, said she didn't like it as an E. If you makes your ears bleed, you can make that note an F. I think it originally is an E, but if you want to make it an F so it sounds more pleasing to your ears, please go ahead and do that. And then put a check mark. The low A is a 1, A2. Oh, wait a minute, that's a misprint on mine. It should be C2. Yeah, see where it says A and then it says A again? Yeah, that A is actually a C. Yeah, see, you got two A's in a row, different notes, so it's a misprint. So that should be a C and it's a 2. F3, high E5. I have to almost lift my hand to get it there. D4, B2, C3, D4. Next line, D4, E5, B2, D4, C3. A1, B2, C3, A1. A1, B2, C3, D4, B2, C3, D4, C3, G1, check mark, G5, C1. Now, if you don't want to play that C and the last two notes there, that G and C, skip it, just put a fill in. You don't need those two. All right, then we're starting the pickup notes to go back, and it's E2, G4, G4, F3, E2, and then you're supposed to go back to the silly sign and redo it. Let's go to the coda. E2, F3, G4, G4, F3, E2, D1, F3. Check mark if you wish. G1, G1, high F5, E4, D3, C2, and then your E, 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 E. I'm holding this. I'm holding this, and I'm taking my left hand and just playing those notes. That's Jingle Bells. And you can use any fingers you want. But you don't want to use your right hand because your right hand has to hold that note. It is going to decay. But as it decays, you're just filling in with that Jingle Bells. And done. By the time you're done with this note has totally decayed. Pretty cool, huh?
You're holding the C and then playing on the bottom keyboard all the E's.
Yep, with your left hand. So you're just crossing that underneath. You're on a no chord. And there's no drums. When you go back to that A1, there's no drums. So A1, I've got all this stuff going. Then I do a no chord. You have no beat. So that whole last line, you're playing free fall, just however speed you want to go. And while that's decaying, you hear the little jingle bells.
Got it.
Yep, pretty cool
That's
stuff.
good.
Any
Yeah,
questions?
that's good.
If you picked up one thing today, you did well. If this session caused you more questions than answers, that's okay too, because we'll keep repeating, repeating, repeating. That's the only way to learn. So again, if you just picked up one thing and went, oh, the rest of it was kind of hard, but I want to learn it, keep coming back to these sessions and ask the questions. Repeat, repeat, repeat. Like I said, it sounds like Robert's going to do some more preset stuff later this week. So don't miss that, because it should reinforce everything that we worked on today and just tell you in a little different way. And the more you get it, the more internalized it'll become, the easier, and the more you actually do it. If you do save your presets and then save them to the stick, you do it once, twice, 3 times, you do it on a regular basis, it becomes second nature. It becomes very easy. You guys are the bestest.
You are too. Thank you, Dawn.
Thank you. Thank you for coming.
Do you remember what book you got these out of?
I do not, because I had these as handouts. I think Christmas in Dixie is in 111, the Blue Seasons Greetings book. The Sugar Plum Fairy came out of, if I recall correctly, the Nutcracker Sweet book. It's a very thin little book, and it might be in a classical book as well, but I know it's in the Nutcracker Sweet book, Christmas book.
Yeah, it is in the classical book.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Very cool. Very
Thank
cool.
you very much.
So much,
You
Dawn.
guys are awesome. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. This is
Don't
very
forget-
Thank you.
nice.
Don't forget to ask more questions, either of me or of your PA, or, if you try something and you forget, phone call, email, we're here to help. You guys are the best. Thank you. Enjoy the rest
Thank
of your
you.
weekend.
Thank you, Dawn.
Thank you.
You too. Bye.
Hi, Dawn. Thank you.
Bye.